Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 6, known as Atma Sanjam Yoga, the yoga of practicing samyama on Atma, the self. Samyama is a combination of 3 stages: concentration, meditation, and samadhi. Simple way is meditation on Atma. What else to meditate on? Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam yah pashyannatmani tushyati. When chitta is restrained, chitta is a whole mindset, and mindset has its basis in chitta. Chitta is unconscious. It's called mind stuff. It's a tough thing to understand. Mind stuff comes in 4 stages: man, buddhi, ahamkar, and chitta. Man is your conscious mind. Buddhi is your intellect that evaluates, reasons, ascertains. Asmita is your egoism. And what's left is deep unconscious, the vast field of unconscious. So most times is this unconscious stage is known as chitta, most times highlighted, because that's where your goal lies. Your goal lies not just bringing changes in your mind, in your ego, or in your intellect, but in your deep unconscious. And so unconscious holds the secret of bondage and release. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. This unconscious becomes your egoism, your intellect, but all these come under chitta vrittis. Chitta remains the unconscious substance. And chitta consider cloud restricting the sun. Chitta is a cloud. Everyone is restricted by the chitta regarding the truth. Truth is the self. Self is like the sun. And the sun is being restricted by a cloud. Restriction is, sun is being refracted, restricted. The result is your experiences in the world through mind and senses. And mind and senses operate through your nervous system. So, if you are put yourself in more relaxed way to look at your personality becomes like an iPhone, iPad. What can you do if beyond your nervous system and your brain? All the story of the world, all the history and geography and all astrology and astronomy, all that you learn is based upon your iPad, your nervous system and brain. It's important to understand, no matter what you understand yourself, your understanding is coming through your nervous system and for your brain, through your brain. But the reality is beyond your nervous system and brain. Reality is beyond your mind, intellect, ego, and chitta. But how to attain that reality, how to discover, realize, that's the goal of life. To realize, who am I? Nothing is more dear to you than I. All else are lies. But handling the I is a very big, it's a massive, vexing problem. One moment your I is happy, another moment your I is unhappy, another moment your I is in suspense. And I creates me and mine. And both are shifting grounds. You don't know who is this me doing the meow. Without going into further detail. When chitta is restrained by the practice of yoga, yoga sevaya, in a broad way, yoga implies 4 aspects of yoga. Karma yoga, action that has become rooted in a divine movement of your mind. In other words, when you turn your action into a form of worship for purifying your heart. Same actions go on creating complications. The same action performed in a profound way, it's called swadharma. First you have to do your duty, not grab any type of activity out of egoistic temptation. But do your duty that you can really do something and be enriched by it, purposeful. When you do your duty, your purpose is being fulfilled. And that's called swadharma. But I will not go into that detail. Gita has already discussed that point. Everyone comes in the world with certain inherent tendency to activity, a type of activity. Some wants to be scientists, some wants to be biologists, some wants to be magicians, some wants to be musicians. Just humorously saying, but the idea is everyone is already performing certain activity and is born with that set. So following that course and adding to it a devotional attitude. Who makes your actions exquisite? Who is the inspiration behind your action? And how can you do those actions that purify the heart, not just secure what you are attaining in the world? Instead of securing the fruits of karma, try to promote purity of heart. And that's when action becomes karma yoga. And its effectiveness goes on increasing as devotion enters into it. As you begin to view action proceeding from God within yourself. God is the inspirer. And as you become more sattvic, pure in your action, there is a greater attunement with God within. I will not go into further detail on that. So karma yoga. Next one, bhakti yoga. When Gita talks about karma yoga, bhakti is implied in it. As well, Gita talks bhakti yoga separately as well. Bhakti is devotion to God. And that requires purification of your feeling. What makes you really joyous is a fulfillment of love within your heart. Nothing else can make you so happy and delighted. And that movement is bhakti, devotion. And third yoga is dhyana yoga. Focusing your mind on your goal. But in order to do so, you train your mind by focusing the mind on whatever can help your mind to be concentrated. So there are many instructions are given about meditation. And final level, at meditation, dhyana takes you to samadhi. There are actually 3 stages. First, focusing the mind. Mind is so distracted, have a one-pointed movement. So when you do japa and certain yoga exercises, even including tratak, just keep your eyes open and look at something. Many points go to help you to have focused state of mind. When you maintain the focus effortlessly, first there is an effort to focus. And when you succeed, you are succeeding in concentration. But when focused state has become natural, now you have entered into this realm of dhyana, meditation. And meditation begins to create a tremendous change in your intellect. So, and meditation becomes enhanced if insights that you receive from your meditation are acted upon in your daily life. Dhyana must change your vyavahar, practical, the way you live. if you are living with anger, hate, greed, and all those things, with lot of complexes, dhyana must, when you practice dhyana, don't just think that I have finished my dhyana, I'm a yogi. No. Try to test your dhyana. And you don't have to worry about test. God has. God will put you to countless tests, positive and negative. Now, dhyana presents a positive situation, and how you can shine more with positive circumstances around you. By doing good deeds, being more good. So you're utilizing dhyana. That's the big mistake in the masses, or the general sadhakas. They practice dhyana and write down in their diary that they are doing wonderful yoga. But when you deal with people and you make them miserable by your talks, you highlight their defects. And in the name of correcting people, you do other way. Saying that it's impossible for you to do anything. You just be completely a dullwit, an owl. So, you are not practicing meditation. You are practicing meditation, but your meditation is not effective. So, when you practice meditation and also express in your daily life, handling positive circumstances in a wonderful way so that you take good advantage of positive situations, handling negative situations, again with an understanding that negative situations are testing your inner strength, your trust, your patience. And so your negative situations are training you. But that doesn't mean that you should go on creating negativity. It will come to you automatically. So, if dhyana becomes active, dynamic, you practice dhyana and change your personality in daily life, change your conduct, change your speech, change the way you behave with your near and dear ones as well as distant ones. Dhyana must go on changing you from himsa to ahimsa, from anger to forgiveness, from irritability to patience. Now the same dhyana, when it has become spontaneous and you go deep into it, now it becomes samadhi. In dhyana state there is an awareness that you are meditating and the object you have chosen is a wonderful object. And today your degree of meditation is very advanced. As long as you have that, all this idea going on is jhana. But samadhi is as if slip into a deep sleep. don't take it literally. Suddenly you move into a deeper, as if you dove into a deeper level of your personality. And that samadhi again has different stages. But the samadhi that we are working for is that which gives you liberation, that reveals the nature of the self. So, again, just enumerating that, karma yoga, action becomes yoga, then karma yoga. Your feelings and sentiments follow the path of bhakti yoga, path of devotion. Your willing that handles the mind, by the will you handle how your mind should move this way or that way, what resolution you should keep. And that will is involved with dhyana movement. And dhyana includes samadhi. And your reasoning, intellect level that brings understanding. It can bring understanding in a very shallow way. Then it is that intellectual understanding. All your academic studies remain intellectual, even though you have good PhD title. You can get wonderful titles and good recognition. You can become Chaturvedi, Trivedi, 4 Vedas, 3 Vedas, expert. Therefore, scriptures dramatize how Ravana was a scholar of all the Vedas. So, but intellectual stage in samadhi, that stage of intellectual movement becomes yoga, called jnana yoga. How to prepare your intellect that can reveal the deeper self. Same intellect works intellectual way and inspirational way and intuitive way. The intellect has many dimensions. So that also by your daily practice you find your intellect bringing a change in your personality that is very profound. And the profoundest change comes by your intellect that becomes intuitional. That's the jnana movement, that's the climax of yoga. So all these 4 yogas automatically are there in every individual. You may not recognize all the 4, may recognize only one, but others are implied. So that's when we say yoga sevaya, practice of yoga. When chitta is restrained by the practice of yoga, and here in this particular chapter, samadhi is being highlighted. Because that's the climax of yogic movement. It reaches the state of supreme withdrawal from the world process. Thus the yogi sees the self, which is purified mind, and rejoices in the self. To understand, think of cinema show. All the time you are watching the show, you are watching that which doesn't exist. All that you see is lies. but doesn't matter, it entertains you. But all the while you are watching the show, the reality behind the show is the screen. So there are two types of progress. Progress in what you are watching. Have a good movie, real inspiration, real entertainment. So progress of that type. But no matter how much you progress through your mental projections, ultimate goal is projections must go away. So the reality is when cinema show finishes, curtain alone is. But if you are more mature, you don't wait for the cinema show to finish. Realize that everything that comes in the show is the screen. Everything that you experience, घट घट में है साईं रमता. Everything that you experience is Brahman, Satchit Ananda, names and forms. So supreme withdrawal from the world means allowing that reality, Brahman alone is, to dominate over all your experiences. Union with God must dominate over all your experiences. Union again is not two being united, it's a revelation. I am. Every soul is like a reflected sun in a jar of water. And it goes through, reflected sun goes through great turmoils. But the reality of the reflected sun is the sun. Thus the yogi sees the self. If you come to that stage, that's called para-vairagya. Ordinary vairagya is the world of projection. Para-vairagya is ending the projection. And that's the purpose of profound samadhi. So what happens if you have that samadhi? Yogi sees the self with his purified mind. Samadhi makes the mind completely pure, just like a cloud that has become shimmering soft. So instead of obstructing the sun, it is glorifying the sun. And soon it will not be there. That's the state of enlightenment, liberation. Mind is there, but is expressing the glory of God. And the more it expresses, the more the mind shines with divine qualities. And it goes on and on until mind itself fades away. But that's the ultimate goal. That's the videha mukti, liberation, where body comes to an end. So yogi sees the self with a purified mind. But the process of coming closer to that has certain degrees, certain stages. And those stages are enjoyed by you as purity increases in your mind. and rejoices in the self. As long as you are rejoicing in the shadows of the self, your rejoicing is questionable. Due to ignorance, everyone is looking for happiness in the realm of experiences that are possible through your mind and senses. But no matter how much you may secure it, firstly you cannot really secure anything. And the happiness that you are experiencing does not quench your thirst for happiness. It increases your thirst. So that type of happiness is not your goal. That type of happiness is a trap that keeps the soul confined to the cycle of birth and death. Allow sattvic happiness to develop in your heart and see the taste of sattvic happiness contrasted from tamasic happiness. That's a big experience, a big revelation. Happiness that is coming to you because of tamas, inertia, laziness, dullness. That happiness is nothing when happiness comes to you when you exert and gain certain things, the happiness is better. But even that happiness is not complete, because no matter what you gain, you can't secure it, you can't secure yourself. You live in a world of mortality. Therefore, what makes you secure? You. Who am I? And you see yourself, you see the self. Can we say allegorical language? You don't see it. Sun does not see itself. The revelation that you have been always the sun. You never wandered away from your essential nature. That revelation is self-realization. Then what happens? You are finding supreme joy in your own self. No longer finding happiness in the world that is little, but you're finding happiness in your own self that is unconditioned, limitless. In fact, that Atma is Ananda, absolute bliss. And that's the goal of life. Sukham atyantikam yattad buddhikahyam atindriyam vetti yatra na chaivayam sthitah chalati tattvataha. When the yogi experiences bliss that is unexcellable, that bliss, every happiness that you experience in the world is excellable. But the bliss that you experience as a revelation of the self, that's unexcellable. And that bliss is beyond the reach of the mind and senses. You can't put your hand on it. You can't put your eyes or senses on it. How does it look? Can't use your mind with its imagination, etc., to evaluate it. It's not a difficult thing to understand. When you sleep, it happens the same thing. In profound sleep, you are experiencing amazing joy. But how does the joy look like? Your senses are not there. Your organs of action are not there. Your senses of perception are not there. Your mind itself is not there. Your intellect and ego both have closed their doors. So, that type of bliss, beyond the reach of the mind and senses, that bliss can be comprehended by the intuitive intellect alone. Intellect becomes viveka buddhi. As intellect becomes purified, a quality enters in the intellect that understands this difference between false and real, difference between pleasant and good, difference between infatuation and divine love, difference between not self and self. So that viveka buddhi begins to develop more and more. When intuitive intellect begins to operate, you don't lead your mind to stress in order to understand something. Understanding comes first. Now you figure out how did you understand it. That's intuition. And that viveka buddhi is also termed as sanamati. And so one of the best prayers are sabko sanamati de Bhagavan. O God, give right understanding to all. That bliss can be comprehended by the intuitive intellect alone. Having attained this state, he is not shaken. He is ever steady. The world is always keep everybody shaken. But no matter how things are shaken, how in this cinema show, how things are shaking, the screen is not shaking at all. Your consciousness, pure consciousness, is like the screen. All things you experience, they are reflections in that consciousness. Reflections go on shaking. But the awareness, pure awareness that is not dependent on your nervous system, beyond the body and mind, that awareness is never shaken. And this atyantikam sukham, bliss that is infinite. Yam labdhva cha param labham manyate nadhikam tatah yasmin sthito na dukkhena guruna pi vichalyate. Having attained this state, he realizes that there is nothing greater than it. You are not in a state of confusion. Have I attained samadhi? Whom should I ask? You realize there is nothing greater than it. And being established in this state, he is not shaken. Even when confronted with the heaviest sorrow, dramatize. All things that you love will go away from you. The very nervous system within you that sustains all the wonderful tastes and stories and lies and all types of entertainments, nothing will stay because they are all being revealed or experienced through your nervous system. And that nervous system is as brittle, so brittle, that can't even imagine. But that's the reality behind things. The human mind, led by ignorance, makes the world so real. So even when we talk about spirituality, can God be real? Can He be touched? Can He shake hands with you? If you can't, then how can He be there? But understand that what seems so real from your doesn't have any reality. And that point has to be reflected upon, that the world is nashwar, perishable, fleeting. And your purpose of your life is to realize the I am. Who am I? And as the moment your understanding has become clear, and that insight has developed a resolve, Bhishma Pratigya, an unshakable resolve that I am going to realize I am. Nothing else. Then you are ready to see the entire world being tossed away. But don't wait for the complete tossing. In practice of sadhana and living your life with a deeper purpose, you must understand the role of challenges. It's through facing challenging situations that you discover your strength, if you face them rightly. And how much can you face? There is no limit to it. So therefore, even that which people consider heaviest of sorrow, that is the lightest like a feather. In simple way to understand, people who are highly advanced, they view even during death, their mind remains relaxed. And if they were appearing worried at the time of death, they smile. What makes it possible? That type of spiritual attainment that can face most horrible situations. And horrible is what? It's just say horrible. So now then, deep insight has to develop and strength of faith to face challenging situations in a profound way. Not to become completely in despair and broken up, but to gain insight that every challenging situation is training you. Certain negative karma created an obstruction. Now you awaken, do positive, discover positive resources within yourself, and you are not shaken anymore. In sadhana movement, if you were unable to tolerate even few words, abusive words, now you are ready to not to tolerate at all, not even to feel that anybody is abusing you, even though people can shower abusive words. So that's what we call facing, confronting heaviest of troubles. I will just quote from the Yoga Vashita. Patatyangara varshecha vati va malayanile bhutale vrajati vyomni samam aste gya atmani. If burning embers were to fall, rain down, or gentle cool breeze filled with sandalwood fragrance were to blow, or the earth itself explodes and gets shattered all over the sky, one who has attained enlightenment is completely untouched. But don't wait until getting enlightened. Learn to be balanced, serene, patient, and discover your inner strength. And life gives you all the opportunities to do so. And who can help you most? God within you. So with this, I'm going to conclude. It's not going fast, but Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukuma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.